Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. The other day I bought some things online from an online thrift store, and it's always hit or miss because you cannot try it on, you don't see it in person. But it were really nice pieces, but of course I had to make some adjustments, except for this dress. It is a dress that I like to, you see it? I like to wear with a nice warm jumper in winter, and in summer I can just use this dress. It is sleeveless, but it's a really nice one. It's not too thick, so you will have to wear some thicker tights underneath in the winter. But I like it with a plain jumper and then this patterned dress skirt underneath it. I now put up my jumper with a belt, but I must say I mostly like it more when it's just down like this. So this dress was perfect. The length, I don't think you can see, is also perfect for me. It's halfway the calves and I like this very much. The middle length, almost maxi length. So I don't have to do anything with this. But then I had some dresses that were the right size but not the right fit. So I'm gonna adjust that and I'm gonna let you show you how to do that to make the thrifted items nicely fitted to your body. So the next one is this really nice summer dress, and of course I can leave it till summer and then make my adjustments, but I like to do it now so that it's ready when it's getting summer next year and I don't have a bunch of things lying down that I have to adjust, because then you don't want to do it. So I'm gonna do it right now. And the problem with this one, it fits me rather nice. The waist is okay, it's elasticated, so that's okay. The length I like, it's very long. Can you see that? Yeah. There, it's almost a maxi dress, and I like it for these summery beach dresses. It has a slit on the side, so that's also nice. So I'm not want to take anything off of the length, but this is really too much. You see, the bodice is way too long, and it's hanging over the waist, and I don't like it. It doesn't feel nice. So I'm gonna measure how much I have too much here. So this is doubled up, and when I measure from the waist, it is 5 centimeters and then doubled up. So it's for me 10 centimeters too long, so it's really a lot. So I'm gonna adjust that, and I'll show you how you can do that when you have this kind of problem.
So I need to take off 8 centimeters, and I marked here 1 centimeter above, so on the bottom side of the dress, 1 centimeter above the elastic of the waistline. I marked that off because there I'm gonna cut it off. Then I have 1 centimeter seam allowance there to sew the bodice back on. So that's that marking. Then I made the other marking on top of above that on the bodice, and that is 8 centimeters minus 2 times 1 centimeter seam allowance, so 6 centimeters higher, because I also need 1 centimeter seam allowance on the bottom of the bodice. So the two seam allowance go attached together when I sew them together, and then I have my 8 centimeters less that I needed. So I'm gonna cut that off there. I'm gonna cut off here the bodice and then sew them together, and then as close as I can to the stitching of the elastic waistband. Then I'm gonna put my skirt into the bodice, right sides together, and then matching up the side seams and the mid front and the mid back. And you, of course, because you have elastic on the top of your skirt, you have to stretch that out to match it, the bottom of the bodice. So stretch it out and pin it and distribute the skirt nicely to the bodice width.
This is nicely fitted like this. No more overlap here of the bodice. I put a belt on because I like that more than just here the elastic. But it's nice now to my size and body type. And sadly I cannot wear this for the upcoming next 6 months or so because it's really getting cold now in my country. But this is a nice dress to have for the summer days next year. So I'm very happy with how this looks now. And you saw it's very easy to make this smaller, and I just made the stitching just above the elastic so that you don't see it, but you don't have to fuss with the elastic in the waist and whatever. So this was really an easy way to resize your thrifted clothing. And then I got this dress, and I'm really not sure what to think about it. It has this tie in the waist, but where you tie it up, it looks rather strange because they made the casing with this lace. So it's really bulking up now, and it's not that you cinch in your waist, it even gets worse. So that's not it. And it really looked different online. That's always, not always, but sometimes that is the case, that you don't really know what you're buying. But it is a rather nice fabric. It is a satin, a pleated satin with some gold printing on it. But it is really loud, it is really too much, and I was thinking maybe I can better make a skirt out of it, but then I think I will not wear it because it is so much of a skirt then, and you have to pair it with something, and I don't think I will wear it. So I will keep it a dress, but I really have to see what to do with it. I think certainly I'm gonna take off this lace here. I think also the lace here, because I don't know, it's just not fitting the fabric, and I don't know why they did it. I don't understand the design of it, but nevertheless, I'll take that off and then see what to do with it. I really don't know yet. I just have to see how it looks then, how I can make a dress out of it that I will certainly wear, because it's not nice to have something that is just keeping place in your closet and you're not gonna wear it. So I'm gonna try to make something out of it. And I'll show you how my thinking is on trying to make something nice of this dress. For this dress, I'm gonna start with seam ripping off all of these lace pieces because I don't like it. And I'm gonna pull out here the string in the waist. Maybe we can use that for another. But first, a lot of seam ripping to do. I took off all the lace that was here. It took me over an hour, and that is why I like more making garments just from scratch than doing these alterations on things, because it is always a lot of work and I don't really like it. Especially with this one. Normally when I have a nice garment I like to make it fit into my body, but this was not really fun. But I wanted to make something out of it, and it is going to be rather nicely. What I did is, now I seam ripped it, I made some holes here, so I have to sew again here the waist seam, because I cut it up quite some times. I'm not really good at seam ripping, of course. But what I saw is it is really of bad quality, because here in the neck hole it is just folded in, not even double, so we have raw edges here that can fray very easily. Also here at the bottom it is not hemmed at all, and when you have a jersey or something that's not a problem at all, but this is just a normal fabric. Also here the top of the ruffle is not even finished, and of course from the inside of course also not. So it's really bad quality. But anyways, I'm gonna make something out of it, and it turned out without the lace pretty good. The length is a little bit awkward. It is just below the knee, so it's a rather strange length. So I was debating whether I should make it shorter or not, but I don't really like shorter dresses, so I'm just gonna leave it like this. I'm just gonna try with accessorizing to make it look nice. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cinch in here the top part of the bodice. I did it here already with a pin. I'm just gonna gather it with my sewing machine and then putting this ribbon on top of it. It's just a ribbon that you cut out of your garments because they are annoying, because they always stick out. So I get them from all the people around me and I save them in a little little bag, and I use them for all kinds of things. So I'm gonna use it, sew it here on top of the gathering so that it is nicely finished. So I think that looks rather nice. Then we have something special here on the top, because otherwise it is just this strange dress, and when I did this it looked really much better. I kept the waist belt. I'm gonna put that around the waist. For me the waist is not where the waistline is, but a little bit higher, but that didn't really matter. I can just cinch it in here, then I have a seam here, but that's not really a problem. So I'm gonna get on my shoulders, put the ribbon on top of it, and then this dress is finished. So the updated funny dress. I think it looks much better now. I'm still not really sure whether I like it or not, but I think now without lace it is just more normal. You see, this is the waist. This was the waistline. That's way too low for me, but of course they wanted to scrunch it up with that lace casing here. I just put it down now, and I still put the belt on, and I think here with the cinching in at the shoulder seams it looks way better. The length is a little bit awkward, but I think it's okay. It's more like a Charleston dress, I think. So when you do it in that kind of vibe, I think it can look nice. If you like that, it is not really my style, but maybe when it's sunny and bright outside and the mood is there, that it can be a nice dress. I think well, I'm not really sure, but I think like this is very good wearable. As before I thought it was really ugly and I really didn't like it, but as I said, the fabric is very nice, and I think like this you can easily wear it. And I just put some nude pumps underneath it, some nude heels. I tried several shoes, but it doesn't really make a difference what I wear with it. It's just you must have the mood for this, I think, and now I'm not really having it, but I think it's a pretty nice dress now, and it's wearable. And I almost forgot, I also got this sweater jumper, and it's really nice color. It's really my color, but you might know that I really don't like these high tight necks, this walled necks. It's really nice and high. You can wall it once or twice, but I hate it when it's this tight to my neck. I cannot stand it, and I couldn't wall it 3 times that it's really lower, so I'm gonna lower it and I show you how you can do it if you're also not a fan like me of these high wool necks that are really tight. So what I did for the color of the sweater, I pinned how high I want my collar to end when I have it on, and I measured it 4 centimeters. I don't know if this is really the right height because I have to try it on first, but I'm guessing now I'll make it 4 centimeters and then another 4 centimeters for the facing. So I'm gonna cut it off here, then try it on and see when I flip the facing in if this is not too much, otherwise I have to cut off more. Then I zigzag the edge here of the collar, make sure it will stay stretchy enough. And then you flip the facing inside, and from the inside sew it down with a hand stitch, and then you have a new collar. And you saw how easy it was to adjust a collar for on a jumper to your own taste, and I like this very much like it is now. It's still stretchy, you can easily put your head through. You can now put your necklace over it, that I like more, and I have my neck not covered, and I really like this much more than those high collar necks that really feels like I'm getting choked. So you see, you can just easily adjust it, and it looks very nice. I'll give you a close-up. You can see that it was different before, and you just hand sew it here onto the stitching from the inside, and then you have no problem at all. The only thing is you really need to make sure that you give a good zigzag, rather a tight zigzag on finishing when you cut it off, because otherwise it will unravel and then you have a problem. But when you do it like this, very easy to do, very quick to do, and you have a whole new sweater that you thrifted for very little money, I think. And then I found this beautiful faux leather dress. You can see it has some printing on it, and it's really nice. It's also very nice quality, because normally faux leather doesn't feel nice to the skin, but this is nicely soft from the inside, so it wears very nicely. The size is okay, it just doesn't fit me because when you see already the sleeves are way too long. I always have that problem, so I have to hem them, but that is not really difficult. It has this elasticated fabric on the inside of the sleeve, and just the bottom is just normally hemmed down, so that's very simple to do. I have to take off around 4 centimeters, I think, as usual. But then the biggest problem, and I'm certainly going to do it because I really love this dress, is you see when I try it on nicely, the waist sits not where my waist is, and I really have to take quite a bit off to get the waistline where it should be. Not that much as the white one, but certainly quite a bit. And when I measure it, I think it's around, yes, it's almost 6 centimeters that I have to take off, and that means I cannot just pinch it together and then sew it, because then my skirt will get short, and as you see it is already quite short, to my taste at least. So I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to seam wrap the whole bodice off, then shorten that one, and then sew it again to the skirt. But the problem is we have a zipper in the mid-back, of course, so I also have to take out the zipper and then sew it back in. And the problem with leather and faux leather is when you have stitching and you take it out, you have holes in your fabric. So I really have to be careful and really sew it back in the same holes as the zipper was before. So that will be a bit of work, but I think it's really worth this dress because it is so nice and so nicely made, and it feels very nice, and that is really to me not really something that you see very often. And I'm not a very edgy person, not at all, but I really like it. I don't really know how much wear I can get out of this, but I just paid €5 for it, so it's really not much. And maybe I can give it to someone else that has my body shape to wear it if I really don't get too much wear out of it. But I think it's a really, really nice dress, so I'm happy to make some adjustments to make it really nicely fitted.
So I started seam wrapping the bodice off of the skirt part, and I want to be very careful because here I really cannot make any holes. And unfortunately at the side seams the waistline wasn't lined up, so I had to improvise there a bit because it wasn't just a straight line. And also sadly this dress is really made very nicely because they even top stitched the seam allowance onto the bodice and onto the skirt, so I also had to seam rip that, at least on the skirt part, because I need that seam allowance for my new seam. So that was really a struggle because it's very difficult to take that out of the faux leather. And then I started seam wrapping out the zipper part a bit in the bodice because I have to take off these centimeters there, and then taking out the zipper on the skirt part because I have to put it lower there then. So now I disconnected the bodice from the skirt. You see the zipper is still attached to the bodice, but the bottom part is loose, and I will later sew that in there on the skirt part when I have taken off enough length of the bodice. And here I start seam wrapping that top stitching on the skirt part. That is very nicely made, but I need to take it off because I need that seam allowance.
Off a piece of my bodice so that the length will be okay now. because the skirt also had a top stitching, I have here now 2 rows of holes in my seam allowance that I don't want. So normally I would try to put the next stitching in an older stitching, but because I have my 2 rows here, I will take it a little bit down because I'm afraid this will rip, because this is very fragile and I don't want that to be my seam that is attaching my dress. So my zipper is loose. I have to take it in later on here in the zipper part of the skirt, but first we're gonna attach the waistline. So I'm gonna flip my skirt part wrong side out. Oh, and I also cut off the excess of my sleeves so that I can just hem my sleeves later on. But first we're gonna do our waistline. So I put the bodice in, and then you just, like you normally would attach a bodice to your skirt, you do that now the same, but using your leather settings and a leather needle, of course. And if you don't know how to sew with leather or faux leather, and you have a dress like this to alter, watch my leather sewing classes that I did before, because there are also many tips how to sew with leather and faux leather, because it is a little bit different than you normally should do. So what I'm going to do now is just attaching both parts. Of course, first clipping them together. Don't use pins, because then you make even extra holes. And then I'm gonna make sure that I am stitching just above all the holes from the former stitching, and just lining up the side seams, the back seam, and then sew it all the way around. I connected the bodice and the skirts together again. Now I have to reattach the zipper. And of course it is now a bit longer, but that is not a problem. You can just push it under, and if you like you can cut it off, but I don't think I will even do that. So I'm just gonna attach it again, and I'm gonna try to make the stitching in the same holes as the former were, because I don't want any more holes here in the faux leather. And then when I've done that, I only have to rehem my sleeves that I already cut quite a piece off, just by folding it in and sewing it down, because of course this won't fray. And then I have redone my faux leather dress. And finally the pièce de résistance, the faux leather dress. And it's such a beautiful piece with the printing on it. You see now my waist is where my waist is, and then it looks way better immediately. It's funny that how different it looks when it's not exactly fitting your body. For me it was okay, but you see that something is off, and now when it's nicely at my waist it looks way better. And the other thing is, to my taste, it is really too short, and I put my over-knee boots, but still I have skin showing, and of course that's not a problem, but I'm not used to this really short skirts. But I think it's such a beautiful dress. It is so nicely made. I was debating whether or not to fix this too. As you know, I have very straight shoulders, and I have always this gaping that is open that you can watch in. But because they also top stitched here the shoulders in the front and in the back, it is really a struggle to do that. And I'm not sure if I can get a really nice result when I have to open this up and finish it again. So I think I will just leave it like this. It doesn't stick to your body, but it rather stays to your body. So when I pull it down once in a while, it will be better you fit it onto my shoulder. It's not really nicely fitted, but I think I will do worse when I adjust it. So I leave it like this. It's a very nice dress. I hope I will wear it, and well, I'm very happy that I purchased it for €5. It's really no money at all for such a nicely made dress, unless that funny one that was really badly made. But that is when you thrift. You don't know, especially when you thrift online, you don't know what you get. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And just try to make something out of it. And otherwise donate it again. And maybe someone else likes it more than you. So I think this was a really nice adjustment session. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned from it how you can make adjustments to your thrift finds that are okay but not really nicely fitted to your body type. You can just easily adjust it and then you have a really nice piece as if it was made for you. And that's what we are here about. So I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you again back next time. Bye.